Son-in-law Syed, the best wedding gift is you gone. So I vanished. My name is Margaret Ellis. Everyone calls me Maggie. I'm 68 years old, a retired English teacher from Savannah, Georgia. I taught literature for 42 years. Shakespeare, Austen, Hemingway. I know how stories end. But I never expected my own story would end like this. It was Friday, October 13th, the rehearsal dinner for my only daughter Lauren's wedding, the Old Pink House restaurant, Savannah's finest. 24 guests, crystal chandeliers, string quartet playing Vivaldi. I'd paid for everything, $12,000 for one evening. But money didn't matter. Lauren was my whole world. After her father died when she was 9, it was just us two against everything. I worked 2 jobs to put her through private school, sold my mother's jewelry to pay for Duke University, ate ramen for 3 years so she could study abroad in Paris. Every sacrifice was worth it when I saw her smile. Then she met Brandon Hartwell, investment banker, old Charleston money, yacht club member since birth, handshake like a wet fish, smile like a game show host. From day one, something felt wrong. The way he'd interrupt her mid-sentence, how he'd check his phone when she was talking, that cold assessment in his eyes when he looked at me, like I was a balance sheet that didn't quite add up. But Lauren loved him, or thought she did, and I'd learned long ago that you can't tell your daughter who to love. You can only be there when it falls apart. The rehearsal dinner started beautifully. Champagne toasts, laughter. Lauren glowing in her rehearsal dress. I sat at the head table, watching my baby girl about to start her own family. My heart was so full it hurt. Then Brandon stood up. He tapped his champagne flute with a fork. That crystalline ring that makes everyone go quiet. "I'd like to make a toast," he said, flashing that game show smile. Everyone raised their glasses. I raised mine too, expecting the usual sentimental speech about love and partnership. Instead, Brandon turned to me, looked me right in the eyes, and said, "You know, Maggie, I've been thinking about what would make tomorrow absolutely perfect. And I realize the greatest wedding gift you could give us isn't money or a condo or any of that. The greatest gift would be for you to just disappear from our family. Let Lauren and me build our lives without your constant hovering, without your opinions on every little thing, without you treating my wife like she's still 12 years old. So here's my toast to independence, to boundaries, to finally being free." The silence was deafening. 24 people frozen like mannequins, champagne glasses suspended in midair. The string quartet had stopped playing. I could feel every eye on me, waiting for the explosion, the tears, the scene. But I didn't give them one. I'm a Southern woman. We were raised to smile through earthquakes. So I smiled, set down my champagne glass very carefully, stood up with perfect posture, and said in my clearest teacher voice, "Done." Then I picked up my purse, walked out of that restaurant with my head high, got in my car, drove home. And that's when I started planning my disappearance. That was Friday night. By Monday morning, my lawyer was already in motion. See, here's what Brandon didn't know about me. I'm not just some hovering mother with too much time on her hands. I'm a woman who spent 42 years teaching teenagers how to think critically, how to plan, how to execute, how to win. and I'd been planning for betrayal my whole life. First, the money. The $85,000 check I'd written for their honeymoon villa in Tuscany canceled Monday morning at 9 a.m. The bank manager was very understanding. "Stop payment, Mrs. Ellis, immediately." The beach condo in Tybee Island I'd bought as their wedding gift? Under contract by Tuesday afternoon. Cash buyer, no contingencies, closed in 11 days. The young couple who bought it were so grateful they cried. I didn't tell them it was supposed to be someone else's dream. Second, the legal documents. My attorney, Patricia Chen, is the best in Savannah. She's won cases against corporations, governments, and very angry ex-husbands. When I told her what happened, she didn't even blink. "How scorched do you want the earth, Maggie?" "Scorched enough that nothing ever grows there again." By Wednesday, Lauren was removed as beneficiary from my $4.2 million life insurance policy. By Thursday, she was removed from all 3 trust funds. By Friday, she was removed from my will entirely. Patricia replaced every mention of Lauren Margaret Ellis with a single line. Niece Rebecca Ann Morrison is hereby designated sole beneficiary of all assets, properties, and financial instruments. My sister's daughter, Rebecca, 26 years old, marine biologist, calls me every Sunday, never asked me for a dime. She would inherit everything. Third, the house. Lauren and Brandon's beautiful craftsman bungalow in Ardsley Park? The one with the wraparound porch and the oak trees? I'd co-signed that mortgage, put down $60,000 for their down payment. They'd promised to pay me back when Brandon's promotion came through. The promotion that never came. I called the bank Monday morning, requested full documentation of the loan, discovered they were already 3 months behind on payments. My co-signature was the only thing keeping them from foreclosure. I removed myself from the loan, let them drown. Fourth, communication. I changed my cell phone number Tuesday morning, changed my email address Tuesday afternoon, deleted Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything. I kept my old phone active, but I never answered it, just monitored the messages like a scientist studying a colony of ants, watching them panic, watching them realize what they'd lost. The first text came Saturday morning, the day of the wedding that no longer had a mother of the bride. "Mom, where are you? The car service said you canceled. Please call me." I didn't call. 2 hours later. "Mom, this isn't funny. People are asking where you are. Please." Still didn't call. Then Brandon, finally realizing he'd made a catastrophic mistake. "Maggie, I was joking, obviously. You know my sense of humor. We need you here. Call Lauren." I turned off the phone and poured myself a glass of bourbon, watched the sun set over Forsyth Park, listened to the silence. It was the most peaceful evening I'd had in years. Fifth and finally, the disappearance itself. I'd always wanted to see Portugal, Lisbon specifically. The white buildings, the blue tiles, the Atlantic Ocean stretching to forever. My late husband Tom and I had planned to go for our 30th anniversary, but he died before we could book the tickets. I booked a one-way flight for Tuesday morning, used my maiden name, Margaret Ann Morrison, paid cash for everything. I rented a tiny apartment in Alfama, the old quarter, €350 a month, top floor, balcony overlooking the Tagus River. I could hear Fado music from the restaurant downstairs every evening. No forwarding address, no international phone plan, No credit cards that could be traced. Margaret Ellis died in Savannah, Georgia. Margaret Morrison was born in Lisbon, Portugal. For 3 weeks, I lived like a ghost. I walked the steep cobblestone streets until my legs ached. I drank coffee in tiny cafes where no one spoke English. I sat in churches built in the 15th century and felt the weight of time. Every morning, I'd wake up, make Portuguese coffee in my tiny kitchen, and sit on my balcony, the sun rising over the Atlantic, seagulls crying, church bells ringing. And I'd think, this is what peace feels like. Week 3, I checked the old phone for the first time. 217 missed calls, 93 text messages, 47 voicemails. I listened to them all. Lauren, day 3. Mom, please, I'm worried sick. No one's heard from you. Your neighbor said you got in a car with suitcases. Where did you go? Please, just let me know you're safe. Brandon, day 5. This is getting ridiculous, Maggie. The honeymoon villa canceled on us. They said the check bounced. We're stuck at a Holiday Inn. Call us back. Lauren, day 7. Mom, I went to your house. All your plants are dead. Your mail is piling up. I'm calling the police. This isn't like you. She did call the police. They did a wellness check. Found the house empty but tidy. No signs of foul play. No forwarding address. The detective told Lauren, "Your mother is an adult. She's allowed to leave town without telling anyone." I'd made sure to leave a note for the police, hidden in my desk drawer, where they'd find it during the wellness check. I, Margaret Ellis, am of sound mind and body. I have chosen to relocate for personal reasons. I do not wish to be contacted by my daughter or her husband. Please respect my privacy. Signed, dated, notarized 2 weeks before the wedding. Week 4, Brandon's messages became desperate. Maggie, I'm begging you. The bank is calling about the house. They said you removed yourself from the loan. We can't afford the payments alone. Lauren is falling apart. Please. Week 5, they tried to reach my sister. Patricia, this is Brandon. I know you and Maggie are close. Please tell her we didn't mean any of it. The wedding was a disaster without her. Lauren cries every night. We need her to come home. My sister Patricia replied, Maggie is dead to us now. Exactly what you asked for. Don't contact this number again. Then she blocked them. Week 6, the wedding gifts started being returned. The venue was demanding payment for damages to their ballroom. Apparently, Brandon got drunk after the ceremony and broke 3 chairs. The caterer sued them for the unpaid balance. The photographer refused to release the wedding photos until they paid his invoice. Everything was falling apart. And I was 3,000 miles away, drinking €2 coffee and learning Portuguese. Month 2 in Lisbon, I started to build a new life. I joined an expat book club, started taking fado singing lessons, volunteered at a local library teaching English to Portuguese children. The children called me Professora Maggie. They brought me drawings and asked me to read them stories. They hugged me goodbye after every class. None of them knew I had a daughter. None of them knew I'd disappeared from my own life. To them, I was just a kind American lady who loved books. And maybe that's all I needed to be. Back in Savannah, things were getting worse. Month 3, the bank foreclosed on Lauren and Brandon's house. They moved into a cramped apartment in Pooler, 30 minutes outside the city. Brandon's car was repossessed. Lauren had to take a job at a department store to make ends meet. The messages became frantic. Mom, I don't understand. Why are you doing this? I'm your daughter. Your only child. Dad would be ashamed of you. Please, just talk to me. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry for everything. Please come back. The mention of Tom, my late husband, almost broke me. Almost. But then I remembered Tom's funeral. How Lauren was too busy with midterms to come home for the full week. How she left the day after the burial to get back to Durham. How she forgot Father's Day for 3 years in a row. Tom would understand what I was doing. He'd always said, Maggie, don't let anyone treat you like you're disposable. Not even our daughter. I deleted the message. Month 4, Brandon tried a different tactic. He hired a private investigator, some ex-cop who specialized in finding missing persons. The guy was good, I'll give him that. He tracked my old credit cards, my social security number, my car registration. But he couldn't find Margaret Morrison, because Margaret Morrison only existed on paper in Portugal, and Portuguese privacy laws are very strict. After 6 weeks and $12,000, the investigator told Brandon, either she's dead or she's the smartest woman I've ever failed to find. Brandon's response, according to the report my lawyer forwarded, she can't just disappear, she has money, she has property, she has a daughter. The investigator replied, had, sir, past tense, whatever she had, she doesn't want any more. Month 5, they tried to sue me. Filed papers for abandonment, emotional distress, and breach of verbal contract, claiming I'd promised to financially support them, claiming my disappearance constituted elder abuse of them somehow. My lawyer, Patricia, handled it by phone from Savannah. She appeared in court, presented my notarized statement, presented bank records showing I'd given them over $200,000 in gifts over 3 years, presented a recording of the rehearsal dinner. Yes, I'd recorded it. Teachers learn to document everything. The judge listened to Brandon's speech. Listened to him say, the greatest gift would be for you to disappear from our family. Listened to my single-word response. Done. Then he looked at Lauren and Brandon and said, you asked her to disappear. She complied. Case dismissed. Brandon tried to argue. The judge held up one hand. Sir, I suggest you learn the definition of the word irrevocable. Your mother-in-law does not owe you her presence or her money. Get out of my courtroom. Patricia sent me the transcript. I laughed so hard I cried. Month 6 brought the phone call that changed everything. My sister Patricia called me on my Portuguese number, the one only she and my lawyer had. Maggie, Lauren's pregnant. I sat down on my balcony, watched the sun set over the Tagus River, felt something twist in my chest. How far along? 3 months. She found out last week. Maggie, she's begging to talk to you. She says she needs her mother. I closed my eyes, pictured my daughter, pregnant. Alone, pictured a grandchild I'd never meet. And I pictured that rehearsal dinner, Brandon's smile, his words, Lauren's nervous laugh. She'd laughed. She hadn't defended me. She'd just laughed. Tell her congratulations, I said quietly. Tell her I hope she has a healthy baby. Maggie, tell her that when her child is grown and someone tells her to disappear from their life, she'll understand why I made the choice I did. She's your daughter. Was, I corrected. Past tense. I hung up. For 3 days, I didn't sleep. I walked the streets of Lisbon until dawn, sat in churches and stared at statues of Mary holding baby Jesus, cried in my apartment where no one could hear me. I'm not made of stone. I'm a mother. Being a mother doesn't just turn off because someone hurts you. But being a mother also means teaching your children consequences, teaching them that words matter, that cruelty has a cost, that you can't unring a bell. Lauren sent a letter through my lawyer. Patricia forwarded it to my Portuguese address. I almost didn't open it, but I'm still human. Mom, I'm pregnant. We're having a girl. We're going to name her Margaret after you. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know what Brandon said was unforgivable. I should have stood up for you. I should have left the dinner with you. I should have called him out right there in front of everyone. But I was scared. Scared of making a scene. Scared of embarrassing Brandon. Scared of choosing between my mother and my husband. So I laughed, and I said nothing. And I let you walk out alone. I'm sorry doesn't even begin to cover it. Brandon and I are in counseling now. He's trying to be better. We're trying to make it work for the baby. But Mom, I need you. I don't know how to be a mother. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm terrified I'll mess this up the way I messed us up. Please, just one conversation. Just one chance to explain. To apologize properly. I love you. I never stopped loving you. Your daughter, Lauren. I folded the letter, put it in a drawer, didn't respond. 2 weeks later, another letter. Mom, I'm showing now. Everyone asks about you. I don't know what to tell them. Brandon's mother has been helping us. She's kind, but she's not you. I went to your house yesterday. The new owners have painted it yellow. They've planted roses in the front garden. It doesn't look like home anymore. Nothing looks like home anymore. Please, Mom, I'm begging you. Lauren. I didn't respond to that one either. Month 7, the letters stopped. The calls stopped. The messages stopped. Either Lauren had given up, or Patricia had told her to stop. The silence was both relief and grief. It's been 14 months since I disappeared. I'm sitting on my balcony in Alfama right now, 7 in the morning. The sun is rising over the Atlantic, painting everything gold and pink. I'm drinking coffee that costs €2 from the cafe downstairs. There's a fado singer practicing in the apartment below mine. Her voice is haunting and beautiful. She's singing about saudade, that Portuguese word for longing. For missing something you can never get back. I understand saudade now. My life here is simple. I teach English 3 mornings a week. I take Portuguese lessons on Tuesday evenings. I've joined a hiking group for seniors, and we explore the countryside every Sunday. I've made friends, real friends, who know me as Margaret Morrison, who don't know about Lauren or Brandon or the $4.2 million I left behind. They just know I'm a retired teacher who loves books and bad Portuguese wine. I'm happy most days. My niece Rebecca visits every few months. She's the only family I have now. She brings me pictures of her work with sea turtles. We drink wine and talk about everything except Lauren. She knows about the will. The $4.2 million she'll inherit when I die. She cried when I told her. Said she didn't want my money, just wanted me to be happy. That's how I knew I'd chosen the right person. Last month, Rebecca brought news. Lauren had the baby, a girl. They named her Margaret Ellis Hartwell. I looked at the photo Rebecca showed me. A tiny pink face, dark hair, eyes closed. My granddaughter. She looked like Lauren did when she was born. Looked like me, according to my mother. I traced the outline of her face with my finger. Felt something crack inside my chest. "Does Lauren know you're in contact with me?" I asked. Rebecca shook her head. "She doesn't know where you are." "Nobody does except Patricia and me." "Good," I said, handing back the phone. "Keep it that way." I wonder sometimes if I'm the villain in this story. A mother who abandoned her daughter, who refused to meet her grandchild, who let money and pride destroy a family. But then I remember that rehearsal dinner, Brandon's face, his words, Lauren's laugh. And I remember that I didn't abandon them. They abandoned me first. They told me to disappear, so I did. Month 15, Patricia called me with urgent news. "Maggie, Brandon's mother died, heart attack. Lauren is asking if you'll come to the funeral." I'd met Eleanor Hartwell exactly 3 times. She was cold, elegant, old Charleston through and through. She'd looked at me like I was help, not family, but she'd been kind to Lauren after I left. "No," I said, "I won't be attending." "Maggie, this could be an opportunity." "An opportunity for what? Reconciliation?" "Patricia, they had 15 months. They could have done more than send letters through a lawyer. They could have actually changed." But 3 days later, something unexpected happened. A courier arrived at my apartment in Lisbon. International Express. A package from Savannah. Inside was a small wooden box, hand-carved, beautiful, and a note in Lauren's handwriting. "Mom, this was in Eleanor's safety deposit box. She left specific instructions that it should go to you. I didn't know she even knew where you were. I haven't opened it. It's yours, L." I opened the box with trembling hands. Inside was a letter in Eleanor's precise script and a USB drive. "Dear Margaret, if you're reading this, I'm dead and you're still hiding in Portugal. Yes, I knew where you were. I hired a better investigator than my son did. I need to tell you something before I go. Something I should have told you months ago." The USB drive contains security camera footage from the rehearsal dinner. From a camera you didn't know about, positioned behind the bar. Watch it, all of it. What happened that night wasn't what you think. I don't expect you to forgive my son. God knows I barely can. But Lauren deserves the truth, and so do you. Eleanor Hartwell. I stared at the USB drive for an hour. Didn't want to plug it in. Didn't want to see that night again. But Eleanor Hartwell wasn't a woman who wasted words. If she said I needed to see something, I needed to see it. I plugged it into my laptop. The footage started 30 minutes before Brandon's speech. I could see the whole room from this angle. See myself laughing with Lauren's college friends. See Brandon at the bar, drinking heavily. See his father Richard pulling him aside. I turned up the volume. The audio was surprisingly clear. Richard Hartwell's voice. "Son, you need to pace yourself. You're getting sloppy." Brandon, slurring slightly. "I'm fine." "Dad." "Richard, you're not fine, and you need to make the speech your mother wrote for you. The one about gratitude and family." Brandon. "I'm not reading Mom's sappy bullshit. I've got something better." Richard. "Brandon, don't do anything stupid." Brandon. Relax, Dad. I'm just going to set some boundaries. I watched Brandon walk to the table, watched him clink his glass, watched myself raise my champagne, smiling. Then the camera angle showed something I couldn't see from where I was sitting. Lauren grabbing Brandon's hand under the table, shaking her head frantically, mouthing the word, no. Brandon pulling his hand away, ignoring her. And then his speech, every cruel word. But the camera showed me what I couldn't see that night. Lauren's face. She wasn't laughing. She was crying. Silent tears streaming down her face, her hand over her mouth, trying not to make a sound, her whole body shaking. And when I stood up and said, done, when I walked out, the camera showed Lauren standing too. But Brandon grabbed her wrist, pulled her back down into her chair. The audio caught his whisper. You stay here. This is our rehearsal dinner. Let her go. Lauren tried to stand again. Brandon's grip tightened. Brandon, let me go. I need to. You need to sit down and smile. This is what boundaries look like, Lauren. She'll get over it. The footage continued for another 20 minutes, showing Lauren sitting there, trapped, showing her crying into her napkin, showing Brandon's father berating him at the bar, showing Brandon's mother Eleanor walking over to Lauren. Eleanor's voice soft and clear. Go after her, dear. Lauren. Brandon won't let me leave. Eleanor. Brandon doesn't own you. Go to your mother. Lauren. But the dinner. Eleanor. Is already ruined. My son ruined it. Don't let him ruin your relationship with your mother, too. Go. The footage showed Lauren standing, Brandon standing too, angry, Eleanor stepping between them. Brandon Richard Hartwell, sit down, now. And Brandon, drunk and angry, backing down from his mother. Lauren ran out of the frame. The timestamp showed this was 8 minutes after I'd left. 8 minutes. By the time Lauren got to the parking lot, I was gone. I sat in my apartment, staring at the frozen screen. All this time, I thought she'd laughed. All this time, I thought she'd chosen him over me. All this time, I thought she didn't care. But she'd cried. She'd tried to leave. She'd been trapped. The USB drive had more files. I opened the next one. It was dated the next day. The wedding day, security footage from the church. Lauren in her wedding dress, pacing in the bridal suite, her bridesmaids trying to calm her down. I can't do this. My mom isn't here. I can't get married without my mom. Bridesmaid. Lauren, you tried calling her. She's not answering. Lauren. Because of what Brandon said. Oh God, what did he say? How could he say that to her? Another bridesmaid. Honey, you need to calm down. The ceremony starts in 20 minutes. Lauren. I don't care about the ceremony. I care about my mother. The footage showed Brandon entering the bridal suite, violating tradition, looking hungover and angry. Lauren, we have 200 people waiting. You need to pull yourself together. Lauren. My mother isn't here, Brandon. Brandon. So what? She's being dramatic. She'll call tomorrow and apologize. Lauren. You told her to disappear. Brandon. I was joking. Jesus, Lauren, where's your sense of humor? Lauren. It wasn't funny, Brandon. It was cruel. Brandon. Well, she took it seriously, and now we look like idiots. So smile, get through this ceremony, and we'll deal with your mother later. The footage showed Lauren sitting down, staring at herself in the mirror, tears running down her face, ruining her makeup. Her maid of honor asked quietly, Do you want to call this off? We can. Right now. Just say the word. Lauren looked at her reflection for a long moment, then whispered, I don't know how to. I closed the laptop. Couldn't watch anymore. My daughter hadn't chosen Brandon over me. She'd been too afraid to choose herself. And I'd disappeared before she could find the courage to leave. There was one more file on the USB drive. A document labeled, Read Last. I opened it. Margaret, by now you've seen what really happened. I'm sorry I didn't send this to you sooner. I wanted to let the situation play out, to see if my son would become the man I raised him to be. He didn't. 6 months ago, I changed my will. Brandon is getting nothing. My entire estate, $12 million, is going to Lauren, with one condition. She has to leave him. She has to file for divorce and complete it before the money transfers. She has to stand on her own 2 feet without a man controlling her. My lawyers will contact her after my death with the details. But Margaret, I need you to do something for me. When she leaves him, and she will leave him, she's going to need her mother. Not her money, not her pride. Her mother. You've made your point. You've taught the lesson. Now teach her how to forgive herself, because that's the hardest lesson of all. Eleanor. I sat on my balcony until sunrise. The Fado singer downstairs was quiet tonight. The city was peaceful. Just me and the stars and the Atlantic Ocean. I thought about Lauren at 6 years old, reading her first chapter book. At 12, winning the spelling bee. At 16, crying over her first heartbreak. At 22, graduating Duke with honors. I thought about Tom, my late husband. What he would say if he were here. He'd probably pour me a bourbon and say, Maggie, you're the smartest woman I know and the most stubborn. Figure out which one matters more right now. 3 days later, Patricia called me. Maggie, Lauren filed for divorce. I sat down heavily. When? Yesterday. Eleanor's lawyers contacted her last week with the will terms. She served Brandon with papers this morning. How is she? Terrified. Staying with friends. The baby's with her. Brandon's threatening to fight for custody. I closed my eyes. He won't win, not with his history. Maggie, she's asking for you. I know. Silence on the line. Then Patricia said quietly, What are you going to do? I looked around my tiny apartment, the books in Portuguese I couldn't quite read yet, the photos of my hiking group on the wall, the simple, peaceful life I'd built from nothing. I don't know, I admitted. I honestly don't know. That night, I did something I hadn't done in 15 months. I called Lauren's number. It rang 4 times, then her voice, cautious. Hello? I opened my mouth, couldn't speak. 15 months of silence sitting in my throat like stones. Hello? Is someone there? Then, in the background, I heard it, a baby crying. My granddaughter, Margaret. Lauren's voice changed, became softer. Shh, sweetheart. It's okay. Mommy's here. The crying stopped. Lauren came back to the phone. Sorry about that. She's teething. If you're a telemarketer, you have terrible timing. Lauren. Complete silence. Then, barely a whisper. Mom? I saw the footage, I said. From the rehearsal dinner. Eleanor sent it to you? She told me she was going to, but I didn't know if... You tried to leave. I did. I swear I did. But he wouldn't. I couldn't. Her voice broke. I know. I said quietly. I saw. Mom, I'm so sorry. I should have defended you. I should have walked out with you. I should have never married him. I've been so stupid and weak and... Stop. She stopped. You weren't weak, I said. You were trapped. There's a difference. I left him, Mom. I filed for divorce. I'm getting the baby and me out. I know. Patricia told me. Are you still in Portugal? I looked around my apartment one more time. The balcony where I'd watched 1,000 sunsets. The life I'd built from ashes and anger. Yes, I said. I'm still here. Silence. Then Lauren, voice very small. Are you ever coming back? And that's the question, isn't it? The only question that matters. I'm still in Lisbon. It's been 2 weeks since that phone call. Lauren and I talk now, every few days. Short conversations, careful conversations. She tells me about the baby, about how Margaret smiled for the first time. About the custody battle with Brandon, about therapy and lawyers and learning to live alone. I tell her about Portugal, about the children I teach, about the fado music and the cobblestone streets, about the life I've built here. We don't talk about forgiveness yet. We're not ready. But yesterday, something changed. Lauren sent me a video, just 20 seconds long. Baby Margaret in her crib, Lauren's voice off camera. Say hi to Grandma Maggie, sweetheart. And the baby, looking right at the camera, those dark eyes, so serious, then breaking into a gummy smile. I watched that video 37 times. This morning, I booked a flight. Not permanently, not to move back, just to visit. 2 weeks in Savannah, to meet my granddaughter. To sit in the same room as my daughter. To see if the space between us can be bridged. I don't know if it can. I don't know if I can forgive everything. If she can forgive me for disappearing. If we can rebuild what was broken. But I'm willing to try. Here's what I've learned in the 15 months since I disappeared. You can't unsay words. You can't undo cruelty. You can't rewind time and make different choices. But you can decide what comes next. Brandon wanted me gone from their family. He got his wish. The $85,000 villa, the beach condo, the co-signed house, all gone. The $4.2 million inheritance, gone too. Lauren will never see that money. Eleanor's $12 million will be enough for her and the baby. My will remains unchanged. Rebecca will inherit everything when I die. That's not negotiable. That's the consequence of telling someone to disappear. They do, and they take everything with them. But maybe, just maybe, there's a difference between financial consequences and human ones. Maybe I can cut Lauren out of my money without cutting her out of my life. Maybe that's the lesson Eleanor was trying to teach me. My flight leaves Tuesday morning. I am terrified. What if I get there and the anger comes back? What if I look at Lauren and only see that rehearsal dinner? What if I hold baby Margaret and feel nothing? Or worse, what if I feel everything? What if I hold that baby and realize I've wasted 15 months? 15 months of her life I can never get back. First smiles, first laughs, first everything, gone. Because I was too proud to answer a phone. I'm sitting on my balcony right now, dawn breaking over the Atlantic, coffee in my hand, suitcase by the door. The fado singer downstairs is singing about saudade again, that longing for what's lost. But maybe saudade isn't just about loss. Maybe it's also about hope, about the possibility of finding what you thought was gone forever. So here's my answer to that question everyone asks. Would I disappear forever if family said this to my face? Yes, I did. And I'd do it again. Because some things shouldn't be forgiven easily. Some words should have permanent consequences. But permanent doesn't always mean forever. Brandon will never see a cent of my money. He'll never be welcome in my life. If I have a relationship with Lauren, it will be one where he doesn't exist. Those are my terms, non-negotiable. But Lauren, my daughter, the little girl who used to bring me dandelions and call them roses, maybe there's still a door there. Not the same door, a new one, smaller, more careful, but a door nonetheless. They wanted me gone from their family. I vanished. I took my money, my presents, my love. I made them feel what absence costs. And now, 15 months later, I'm choosing to come back. Not because they deserve it, but because my granddaughter does. Because maybe that's what being a mother means. Not letting people walk all over you, but also not letting anger destroy everything good. Some gifts money can't buy, like the gift of a second chance, even when it's not deserved, even when it hurts, especially then. Would you disappear forever if family said this to your face? Or would you find a way back? Comment your limit. Tell me what you'd do. Because I'm still figuring out mine. Tuesday morning, I'll know if I made the right choice. Or if some doors should stay closed forever. Next story drops Thursday. Until then, I'm boarding a plane. Wish me luck.